in this episode.
Kyle, did you see? Did you? We hung out with Jacob a couple times. Did you see that? Do you have a Makarov, by the way? Are you a cultured man?
Yes, I have a
Okay.
Bulgarian, PO1? I think.
Thank you. Yeah, see, a Bulgarian is a very suitable.
Because it's easy to get.
Like your
They are.
mother.
Got him.
In an obtuse world, Mark and Jefe will combine military, law enforcement, and general FUD knowledge to keep you vertical. Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for joining us on another edition of Live, Laugh, LARP. I really do appreciate everybody swinging by. We did miss the 15th of February. That was my birthday week, and had a couple different surprises pop up that week that really made things challenging to record. So I do apologize on missing an episode, but we've got a special guest to swing in on this episode. We'll probably run long and just let this let this podcast flow as it flows. But before we get into that, obviously we have to say hello to the co-host. That is Jefe. What's going on, buddy?
Well, so this is our first inaugural. We're recording on two sides of the United States stream or podcast. So we're super excited because now instead of having to do like the fly somebody out and have them stay at a hotel and do unspeakable things to them, we can just do it all online.
That's good.
Where it's all like legal.
Yeah, exactly. It's all legal. And in addition to that, we've got Jefe here. Obviously, we got me, and our special guest this time is Gear Know-How. It's Kyle. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
Kyle.
It's Kyle. Hey, I'm
The
asking
Tower of
you.
Sausage Man himself.
Yeah, I'm
was a good night.
asking if his name is correct, as if I didn't already know his name.
And it's right there on the screen.
It's
in front
on
of
his
us, too.
screen,
Right there.
and then of course we've hung out for 2 years in a row at SHOT Show as well. So, hey Kyle, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. We appreciate you having
Absolutely.
you take the time to get into these TISM rants with us. So how's your night going?
Oh, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Actually, I did a good range session. 2 nights ago? Pretty good. So,
Right on.
yeah,
Yeah, I snuck out to the range yesterday and had a nice little failure.
That video.
I saw.
Have you seen it yet, Kyle?
Yeah,
Yep.
I sent it to him.
The was it the wet biscuit coming out the tube?
The shings right off.
So the video will be out before this podcast is. So I was, just for people's edification, I was testing a knockoff AR folder adapter, comparing that to the actual real deal Law Tactical Gen 3 folder, and we first round on the knockoff, it had a catastrophic internal failure, and the buffer and spring just yeeted itself out of.
It wasn't yeeted. It was more like the slow jerk, just slowly opens up and just meh.
Yeah, it just kind of
This is where we're going to TISM rant. There is a video out there in the internet. It's really hard to find these days because YouTube is YouTube. It was called Poop Shotgun. And this was see, this is where it's going. It was a litmus test for like a guy I know. He literally will show up to you, like walk up to you, never met you in his entire life, show you that video, and if you didn't laugh your head off because of it, he would just stop talking to you. No, you'd be dead to this man. And I encourage everyone to go look for it. It's a probably like a mid 2000s video where this college guy sitting on a toilet taking a crap. His friends all busting with the 8 megapixel phone. Go poop shotgun, toss him a fucking beer. He bashes it open with his head, shotguns it all, stands up and just just this poop, and it misses the toilet completely and just causes all sorts of mess. But the second I saw that video of the that buffer spring coming out, I was like, it harks back to then.
Yeah. So the three of us have hung out several times now. We've spent 2 SHOT shows together. We have some really great stories that we'll probably dive into in this podcast. But before we get into the podcast any further, we obviously have to say a huge thank you to Atero Arms. They are
Atero.
yeah, they are sponsoring the podcast, and we really, really do appreciate it. I just added another Atero Arms mount to my Zastava M90. I posted it on Instagram. I've got the Siley Bull Pro red dot on there. It's just like this massive like SRO on steroids from this company called
Bull
Siren.
steroids.
Yeah, yeah, right. But it fits a RMR cut, and I couldn't think of a better way to like review that red dot than throwing it onto my M90 with the Atero mount and then taking it out to Clash Bash and competing with it. So,
well, didn't you have, was it 2 years ago when you ran the RMR on it and it was just too small of a window?
No, it wasn't the RMR. It was the Holosun 509T.
Yeah, too small. But
yeah.
this bull looks massive.
Man,
on it, so.
yeah, it's like ridiculous. So again, thank you to Atero for sponsoring the channel. We really do appreciate it.
Still waiting on that.
Yeah,
still waiting.
still
We're
waiting
still
on
waiting on that J-frame. So to Mr. Otero, first of all, we wish you could have come to SHOT so I can bully you face to face. And second of all, again, Lipsies is coming out with a dovetail J-frame. If you just make a dovetail mount for a J-frame that can take a Acro P2, we'll call it even.
That's right. But as always, we really do appreciate them. Kyle, I don't know if you've messed with Atero at all. Have you looked into their products yet?
You know, I was just looking up them now. It looks like some pretty cool optic mounting solutions here.
Yeah, and it's really super
AK.
easy to install onto an AK. I know that you just picked up a really nice M70 not too long ago. Yeah. And, all you got to do is just swap out that rear sight, and it comes with integrated rear sights into the mount itself. So
it's obviously the without bastardizing your AK so much, it's probably the best and cheapest optic solution for an AK. Like, there's nothing that even remotely comes close to it unless you want to spend, a couple $100 for like some dog leg system and get a rail cover. So highly recommend them.
Yep, go check them out. We have links in our bios.
I don't know if you knew this. Every time, like for the guests that come onto our podcast, we highly recommend things to them. So congratulations. That's kind of what we give to you for coming out on this on this podcast. We have nothing to give except for garbage advice sometimes.
But with that being said, Kyle, why don't we just take a step back and just kind of let everybody get to know the real Gear Know-How. Where did Gear Know-How get started?
Oh, let me tell you. I mean, it was a dark summer's night. No, actually, it's interesting. I mean, I think you kind of just fall into what you love doing in various ways in life, right? So probably like, I don't know, 15 years ago now or so. And actually even before that, actually I'll take it back, but like 20 years ago, me and my buddies used to do like little comedy sketches and like do videos and stuff and just show our friends. And we had like various little YouTube channels when like YouTube was like just kind of taken off like in the early 2000s or like mid 2000s, whatever it was. And I remember just doing like little comedy sketches, like, and just goofing off with, back then we had like, we just got away from the little VHS tapes, right? The little camcorder tapes.
Yeah.
It was like built in large memory cards. It wasn't even SD yet. So we had those. And I think they even had discs at one point, little mini discs, like a GameCube disc kind of thing. And so we were goofing off with cameras for a long time. So I always liked cameras and like video like kind of videography, amateur videography. And, I remember recording. I think we were living in Texas at the time. We used to go to the range like every Friday with a bunch of coworkers, like the Texas way. And we would go and just go to the range and shoot and have fun. And I remember getting like a Bushnell, like I forget what it was like a TRS 25, whatever it was, like the cheapest red dot at the time, like 15 years ago. And I got a couple other cheap red dots from Amazon. I remember like a Sight Marker or something, because that was like the infancy of like commercially available cheap red dots for everyone. And I remember like doing a video like, I'm going to do a red dot comparison. Just that's what I'm just going to call it, red dot comparison. I just put them on at the kitchen table and talked about them And I was like, that'd be funny. I'll just post it on this channel. I'll make a channel up, like not even a real name. It was just like whatever generic name YouTube gave me, and I posted it. And anyways, that's all I did. A couple years later, look back, and I have like 12,000 views, and I'm like sitting there like, what? Like, who's watching?
Well, yeah, right.
It wasn't monetized, right? It wasn't anything. There wasn't even like any details. I don't think I put a description in there. And I remember looking back, I was like, oh, maybe I should start doing something. And at the time, we were like up in, I think, living in New Hampshire, so we moved around a lot, and just for work. And I remember I was like, well, I'm gonna film some more videos. I filmed like a Mose and Nagant little video. I did a Beretta, like in front of me in my hand. I called it Beretta 92FS close up, and that thing got like thousands and thousands of views like a couple years later. And I was like, all right, we got something here. So I started doing like one video a month, and then like, took a lot of breaks here and there. And then probably about like 5 years ago or so, I started taking it a little more seriously. And I mean, as you know, it takes a long time to build a channel and really discover what you want to do and like how you want to come across on like what you want to talk about and this and that, without like, unless you want to do like a big personality or whatever it is. But you can just decide on what you want to do and what you like doing, and you got to make sure you enjoy it. So right now I'm doing like a video a week, and I enjoy talking about different products. I enjoy going to the range and testing it out. I do truck stuff as well, bike stuff. I mean, I have a couple like e-bikes in and stuff that I have to review. Like there's some cool stuff, that isn't just firearm related out there that you can kind of all, wrangle together with like truck stuff and camping and all that. It all kind of in the same mindset, really. And that's what I like doing outside, just testing new stuff, trying out new things, see something cool on Amazon that no one really talks about, pick it up and test it, that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what gear know-how kind of came to be about.
Back in the good old days where you can just, VHS copy, hey, look, this is on Beretta 92FS, and you get thousands.
Yeah, I know, it's so easy.
And now it's like, hey, I literally shot six watermelons and 2 dogs, and it gets like 10 views because it's not like cool enough.
Yeah, right.
We have totally desensitized ourselves.
So from the gear side then, and you said Amazon, what has been like the biggest surprise that you've come across on like Amazon that just jumps in your head first thing?
Funny enough, so first thing just came to my mind. One of the first things I bought off Amazon that was like a tactical gear thing was one of the old Streamlight ProTac like rubberized flashlights, and it was a handheld like 1-inch tube flashlight. And I remember like it took a couple of CR123s or whatever. This is like 6-7 years ago. That thing is as bright and as powerful as it was brand new. And I put it on so many rifles back when you'd like clamp it with a tube clamp and then like strap it to a Picatinny rail.
Oh, wait. We still like, we're not supposed to do that anymore.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right? It's
Kyle's
not fully
M-lock.
indoctrinated into the AK.
Yeah, it's like if it's not fixed with a hose clamp or a Dremel, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is before. This is like before chemo, and then of course M-lock kind of reigned supreme there. But
this is before Picatinny.
Yeah, before Picatinny. Yeah, this is I think this is back when like they had like was it UTG leapers that you would have like things you literally screw rails into things.
Yeah, it was like everything was just dovetail. Like you had to like almost weave or dovetail everything into things.
But yeah, a little flashlight and Streamlight, of course. I didn't know what the heck they were, and now I'm like, oh wow, Streamlight, like they're good quality, cheap flashlights, and they just keep running.
Yeah.
So that was years ago.
So yeah, you talked about started off in Texas, kind of just messing around with cameras. Like, what got you into guns? Like, what's the villain story of how did you get into the firearms side of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I never really grew up. It's funny, like a lot of folks who are like into firearms now, like some people like, oh, I used dad's hunting rifle and shot some deer or whatever it is. And I never really grew up with firearms. In fact, like I would go to like summer camps and stuff. We shoot 22s, you shoot 12 gauge, 20 gauge for clay pigeons and skeet shooting and stuff. But really like once I got out and was like professional career, like not really thinking about YouTube at the time, when I started doing like that first video, we'd go to the range and like we'd rent guns, right? So, I mean, renting it's cheaper than buying, obviously, but it's still expensive. But if you can rent so many different handguns and rifles, and we would go with a bunch of friends and rent like 10 guns and then just all pitch in $50 to throw a bunch of ammo down and just try a bunch of different things like Glock, Smith & Wesson, HKs, whatever. And I just remember we'd go out there and just have a good time, and ended up finding like Academy Sports was up the road, and I was like, oh wow, there's a whole gun section. And we just started buying stuff, and I was like, I think I bought a 92 FS because I loved Boondock Saints.
Yeah,
that was like my first handgun.
A man of culture.
Yes, exactly.
Does that
my first handgun?
Don't mean to derail. In your humble opinion, does that movie still stand up today?
Absolutely, I think it's great.
Okay, good. Okay, I knew we were in good company.
Yes. Oh, it's great. It's just a good. I mean, you can't not just sit there and just stare into it and smile. I mean, a lot of movies get distracted, but this thing is just great.
It's one of those movies. There's like very few of them where you'll be scrolling through TV and you have like the last 20, 30 minutes of it, and you watch it, and then it's like, coming up next, Boondock Saints. You're like, oh yeah, I'll sit here and watch it all over again.
Cancel my plans.
Yeah, I think it's probably been a decade since I've seen it. I know.
Go watch it. Don't watch the second or third one or whatever they did, but watch the first one.
One's garbage.
Yeah.
So, bought a Beretta 92 FS.
Yep.
Recorded it on your mom's VHS camera, uploaded it to YouTube on DOS, and here he is.
Exactly. And here we are, yeah. Actually, I think I bought the Beretta I went to my first gun show in Houston, and Houston has I don't know if you guys ever went down there, but Houston has like a couple of big gun shows. They also have like the NRA and all that stuff that goes down there. But Houston had one of the biggest gun shows, and I went downtown one time. I was like, there's like, obviously like 20 rows of tables, and it's just like a massive assortment. And that was back when, believe it or not, I think you can get a good deal at a gun show, because I remember like they had a bunch of M9s. And you also had the 92 FS made in Italy. And I was like, oh, I want the Italian one, clearly, right? I want the one from Boondock Saints. So I remember getting that, and the prices were great, even better than Academy. But now I don't know, gun shows are kind of crazy now.
Utilizing that loophole, right?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, no, you didn't need an ID or anything, I'm sure.
Out of curiosity, is it like is it black? Is it stainless? Like what are we working with? It was like a purebred Italian horse. No, yeah, it's just a 92 FS black. Okay.
Yeah, just Italian.
So if you still got it, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas next year. I was gonna get you the Romeo and Juliet, like the Mary Magdalene, like the grips with
the grip panels.
You ever see the Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yep.
We'll get you all hooked up with something like that for Christmas one year.
There we go. There you go. I think I have a pair of like Hogue grips on there. Yep.
As the Lord intended. So from New Hampshire, you said originally, then moved out to Texas. Like,
yeah, actually, I mean, I grew up. Actually, I'm from New Hampshire, which is like an island in freedom up north. Obviously, it's like it's the last free state, and I'm telling you, it's closing in. Like the fences are falling. Like I have family up there. Like, oh my gosh, they're like, it's so miserable. Like, yeah, they're like hold
project or something like that.
Yeah,
that's what's New Hampshire's considered the Free State Project.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, but I moved down I'm actually in North Carolina now, and I moved down here when I was like, I don't know, like 10 or something. But then I lived in Texas. I moved back up to New Hampshire, worked out of like Boston and stuff for a while. And it was a great time. It was always awkward going into from New Hampshire. And then you go into like Boston or Maine, they're worried about you carrying like a toothpick on you. And it's just kind of weird.
So it's not doing good up there, is what we're hearing.
No, I think I remember Boston in particular was funny because I remember hearing my friends, they're like, don't bring anything down into Massachusetts, don't, even a pocket knife. They were like, yeah, there's rules on pocket knives. I was like, what are you talking about, pocket knife? Like, and they're like, oh yeah, there's like a 2-inch blade rule. I'm like, 2-inch blade rule, like in the city of Boston. I was like,
I mean, we know everyone follows that rule, though.
Oh, totally, yeah.
The crime statistics definitely show that.
No, it's like it's heaven. It's just pure and nice. Oh, it's great.
So currently in North Carolina, what's Kyle do for real money outside of YouTube? What's the side hustle?
Yeah, I mean, I just work for like a tech company, like a lot of guys just kind of just and then do the YouTube
Just like
thing nights
everybody,
and weekends.
just like you and me, we all work
Oh, you
tech
work
companies.
you work like
I don't work tech.
you work in tech.
I work in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's tech.
There you go. See, that's actually what I
That's
kind of
pretty-
do. Yeah, in a
That's pretty
spreadsheet.
techy. So,
It pays the bills, right? It's not glamorous.
Oh
but
yeah,
no.
no, yeah. I literally crunch numbers all day long and try
Yeah.
to eke out as much profit on the products that we sell. So that's my whole
Exactly.
job. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's also-
I'm in operations, so I do like strategy and planning for our sales teams and kind of what's the next big thing. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not glamorous, and I mean, who knows where YouTube takes you, but it's kind of nice to be able to do that. And then, what the best part about those kind of jobs is you have time, nights and weekends, usually to get away to film
Yeah.
for YouTube and stuff.
Is that something you've always been a part of, or like straight out
Yeah,
of school into
yeah,
IT?
I went to school for like marketing, got like a business degree. Just because I wanted to kind of get in the tech sector. I was kind of always fascinated with a lot of the new technology and stuff that a lot of different companies are bringing to the table. Yeah, so that's kind of been my thing. And then now I learned about firearms, and I'm like, wow, I really should have done a channel when you can get 10,000 views by sneezing.
Should have gone to Sonoran Desert Institute. Well, we ran into those guys last year at was with Leviathan. They had like their dean out there to kind of promote the school.
He was wearing a lab coat.
No, he was not. Actually, we have a friend of ours that is going through SDI right now. I don't know if he's about to graduate or soon. They do not sell that lab coat.
No,
that was a very like for Mike's channel. That was a very niche thing, and they don't sell it in their university store or anything like that, and they don't wear them. You don't have to wear them at all, but it's a cool program. Like we weren't sponsored by them. We're not sponsored by them. They send you all that stuff though. Like if they say, hey, you need to fix this, they send you the stuff to fix, and then you fix it and you keep it.
Oh.
It's kind of ridiculous. What they
they joke. A couple channels joke about how they're like, oh, the gunsmiths are like backlogged. I tell you, trying to look around for very specific things you want to get done on different handguns and rifles, there's really not a lot of gunsmiths out there who aren't just doing like Cerakote and some slide cuts that are pretty generic.
Well,
there's a point to be made where that is a good career option, I think, if you're willing to do the work, because you got to also do like the marketing aspect of it. You got to get your own business going. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good and the bad of kind of like the gun community, the gun industry these days is the ease of how everything works. Back in probably 80s and 90s, if you want something done to a gun, it's milling, it's actual machine work. It takes a lot of time and effort. Or if you want like a custom 1911, it was, hey, I had to go hire somebody to build this thing from a block of aluminum. And now it's, if I want to change the sights of my Glock, I don't have to pay some guy, $150, $200 to do it. You just get the tool set and do it yourself.
Yeah,
or if you want to swap out triggers, if you want to swap out frames. I mean, hell, you can build an AR with like very minimal tools at home by yourself.
I did it in 2009. I didn't have any of the quote unquote armorer's tools, and I pulled it together.
Hell, you can make it, AK out of a parts kit and C channel from like Home Depot if you really are crafty. So
some
like
screws and bolts.
Yeah. So these days, I mean, you can buy a rivet kit, and that's fine. But yeah, these days it seems like the gunsmith, what you usually are paying people for is those Cerakotes and the slide cuts, not for anything cool these days. Like, except for like, was it Typhoon? We're talking with Jacob about this. He sent out a Tokarev to go get like milled and put a rail on it and everything.
Oh, that's right.
That.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things that was brought up by the guy who owns M13. Clayco went out to Phoenix and had some work done on one of his AKs, and then interviewed the owner of M13 Industries. And that was one of the things that he said is, gunsmithing, when it comes like right down to like hardcore old school gunsmithing, is going the way of the dodo. I mean, one of the things that I have really kind of struggled with is I've got the Remlin 3030, that that Remington Marlin 3030 that I've got. I would love for that to have a threaded barrel for the suppressor that I eventually will. Yeah, no, right. We know a guy, but
no, I know like how I got my 3030 threaded and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the question is, like, if you don't know a guy, then how do you go about doing that? Of course, yeah, you can get on the internet, you can do some Google searches, you might have to actually pick up the phone and call a couple of people, but that type of stuff is starting to be a little bit more difficult to find too. Is that necessarily needed in this day and age? I mean, maybe not, but there are, I think you have two extremes. There's nothing really much in the middle. You either have the people that really don't need any type of gunsmithing because they're just stuck to like ARs, and it's like, you can fix it at home, or you have those other guys that are just massive collectors, and they're like, oh, well, I found this extremely rare, low cut
1980s SIG P226 from East Germany that I had to have.
Yeah, exactly. And for some
reason, we don't
know
anybody like that.
Yeah, there's some reason
West Germany.
Was it West Germany? I apologize.
The East was like Makarov's.
Yeah, it would have been.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Political distance.
Okay, and we got a sidetrack here because I want so desperately a really cherry East German Makarov, and I get shamed time and time again when I bring it up. I found one several years ago. I think it would have been like 2021. I found one for about $600, which is a little expensive, but it came with all of like the armorer's paperwork. Like it had showed all of the services and everything. And this was like a legit East German Makarov, and somebody who may or may not be sitting to my left was like, oh, East German, you need to get Bulgarian because they've
actually
been
kill political dissidents.
You don't know that.
I do.
You don't know that the East Germans didn't either, right? They shot at plenty of people trying to get over the wall.
They were more like, we shot them from machine gun nests as they were running across the street. Not, you talked ill of the Tsar, so therefore we're going to pull you out to the street and make an example of you.
So anyway, that's one of the things that I really wanted. So
Kyle, did you see? Did you? We hung out with Jacob a couple times. Did you see that? Do you have a Makarov, by the way? Are you a cultured man?
Yes, I have a Bulgarian PO1. I think.
Thank you. Yeah, see, a Bulgarian is a very suitable
because it's easy to get.
Like your mother. Got him. Yeah. Did you see the that rail trigger guard?
Yeah, his build. Yeah, that's crazy.
What was it? I'm gonna pull that guy up and give him a shout out. So it is, because I just messaged him the other day. Where is this? Oh yeah. Okay. Dominus Tactical Solutions is coming out with that a railed trigger, like a trigger guard drop in. So you can put a TLR7 on their Makarov, and it also is coming out with like a plate. So you can, if you have one of the Makarovs that have a driftable sight, you can actually put a red dot on it. And he has some videos of it, and it looks super cool. Like, it's something that I will never like practically use, but I keep my Makarov in my desk drawer just in case political dissidence happens to happen in my house. And I think that would just be a cool little setup.
So the Makarov is such an interesting handgun. It's fun. I just brought mine out to the range a couple of days ago, and I shot a couple of mags through it. First off, obviously the round is different. It's like in between a 380 and a 9 for us. And second off, when I first got it, it was a police issue. It's from like the 80s or something. Yeah. And it was like never fired. Like they made it for the police department. It probably just sat on the shelf somewhere. And it was so stiff that everything was like, it's just the way they machine these things. It's just like tight tolerances, and you really have to shoot it to really break it in. Now that I've broken it in, it's all turning in like butter, like the trigger, the slide, everything is like working so much better.
They are fantastic guns. I guess the only negative from them are they're one heavy, they're single stack, and especially the Bulgarians that have milled in sights. So it's not the best sights. So it's not the greatest.
What's funny is the Makarov. I was just thinking about doing a video of this. So the Makarov would have been on the East German side, and it has what, 8 round capacity in a see-through, like half windowed magazine. And then Mark, I don't know if you were on earlier, but I did pick up a West German 226, and it's like just beautiful. And I'm thinking now, think about it, West versus East. You had guys carrying a SIG back then, 15-round mags versus a Makarov with 8-round mags. It's like, what kind of competition is this?
Well, handguns are great and everything like that, but if you got to the point where we were in like an armed conflict and you had your handgun, things would be things are going super south.
You ran out of AK real quick.
Yeah. So you ran out of your political distance deletion machine 6000 and your
distance maker real quick.
So so we kind of talked about the background. What's next in the world of gear know-how? Like what's the future look like? What's the channel's like goal, or what you're aiming for this year?
I mean, so I filmed a bunch of videos at SHOT Show. I think kind of like you guys did too. So I mean, I just finished up posting like my last video. I was like just kind of slowly sending them out, and I still do a video a week. So what's coming up next is I do have several different World War II firearms that I haven't really done a full review on, but after shooting them more and more, like you kind of fall in love with the history, just like even like a West German 226. I know it's like 40 years old, but compared to World War II, but I think that, and doing some comparison videos like a 1911 from 44 versus a Luger that I have from 44, and then doing like a SIG 226 West German from the 80s versus like a Makarov from the 80s. Just things like those, I think would be really cool videos just to shoot and just to kind of take a glimpse of the history of them. On top of that, I have, like you were mentioning, the Marlin 3030 336. I was literally just looking for someone to thread the barrel on my old like 20-year-old 336 I picked up. Nice. And it's a 3030, and not the ammo is hard to come by too, so it's a very pretty expensive gun to shoot, but it's still a blast. And but that tube is so close to the end of the barrel, but I'm like, I want to thread this for a suppressor. It'd be great.
So I had a like a mid 70s Winchester 94 that I actually had someone chop the barrel. I think it was I think it was an 18-inch barrel that it got chopped down to 16 inches, but then it got threaded. And so it took a hot minute. Now I'm not gonna lie, I think it took him like to do like 4 or 5 months to do. He also builds, he builds precision guns for police departments and everything like that. So handing him a Winchester and like, hey, can you make this a 6-shot or a 16-inch threaded barrel? It wasn't the highest on his priority list, but did a fantastic job. It's one of my favorite rifles. And it sucks these days because it's either if you want to thread a gun, it's just cheaper to almost sell what you got and go buy one of the new ones that are all threaded up and everything.
Yeah, there's a guy locally that if I wanted to, I could take my 336 and send it to him to thread it. Essentially, what you end up having to do is you cut down that magazine by an inch or two, and you'll end up losing capacity to be able to thread it. And then of course you have to move your front sight back, and he'll have to tap that as well. So it can be kind of
it cost me $700 to do.
Yeah.
And it's like a rifle I bought at a gun auction for $300. So it was worth the project. But if you're already spending $600-700 on a lever gun and then trying to spend another $600-700, and this was back in I think 2018 I got this done, so back before the huge gun industry like inflation. Well,
yeah. So you talked about your projects and stuff like that, and you were saying that you were just done with some of your SHOT Show videos. What was your impression of SHOT Show this year? Was it better than you expected? Was it better than last year?
Were you surprised that the same old German lady was smacking lonely guys' asses for Shot the
Jaeger? So everybody knows, last year and this year, the three of us have gotten together at the Hofbrauhaus, and I think if we're down for it, I think we should do that every year.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we now have a tradition, and the tradition now is to see if that same old lonely
she's like a strung out Ivanka Trump.
Yeah, strung out. Like if Ivanka Trump happened to get back into drugs, and I probably caught herself with defamation suit, but yeah, she walked around, and if you bought a shot Jaeger from her, she'd smack your butt with a paddle, and it was probably louder than it did hurt, but
for sure. And we got a good tutorial on I guess who has spanking fetishes amongst all the guys there.
It's all lonely guys, man. Like
it's
depressing to watch how many guys just need female attention.
It's cool the very first time you ever see it, you're like, oh, that's hilarious. And then like 14 slaps later, you're like, okay, I get it. This is pathetic.
And then we actually ran into the Fiddler's Green podcast. What was it? No, Arms Room podcast.
Arms Room
podcast.
Yeah.
Talked to those guys for quite some time. There's usually some sort of event at Hofbrauer House too, so it's always a good time. But hey, get back on topic.
Yeah, I'm back to
SHOT Show. What was like the coolest thing you saw? What's like the thing that you're like, oh man, I just cannot wait for this to come out, and it can't be one of the new PSA guns.
Exactly. I was going to say, I swear to God, you said X57.
Which we all are rock hard for right now, by the way. Get it? Because it's the PSA rock. I just did that on accident, but I see what there. I'm waiting for my royalty checks from that company, by the way.
I know PSA has been all over everywhere, right? I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, there's some cool concepts there, but stuff that I saw. I mean, so first off, SHOT Show in general, I thought was great. Obviously, Hofbrauer House, sausages, schnitzel, giant beers, can't go wrong there. It is work. I think a lot of people don't realize how much work it is to go to SHOT Show. Not only the physical part of walking, I think I put in like 25,000 steps a day. So it's like, it's a lot of work running around meeting people, but then just talking to people and staying on topic and being on your A game, especially if you are planning on new videos, is pretty big. And then trying to find that new thing that would be most interesting to yourself as well as your viewers. I try to find things that interest me anyways for whatever I do on the channel. So a lot of the stuff you see that I'm reviewing is not stuff that I just like, oh, I'm just going to review it because someone told me to do it. No, a lot of it's because I like it. And that's just kind of how I do it because I use the stuff. So for SHOT Show, running around, I saw a bunch of really cool products coming out. There's a lot of cool concepts. I think HRT, I think we both stopped by there. They have some really cool marker lights for helmets. I just got a Team Wendy helmet set up
that I'm working on that today, didn't you? Like a short or something?
Yeah, it's a little story. I did a little review on it. I'm going to do some more reviews on it. I'm kind of messing around with it. I never really used a helmet to this capacity before like that, but I want to get to night vision and all that. But that's off topic. So SHOT Show. So SHOT Show. The marker lights are really cool. I thought. It's not for everybody, but I think a lot of people could benefit from it. I thought the Radian Afterburner Ramjet for the 365 was really neat.
Oh, yeah.
Because
the Glock ones are so much cooler. Let's talk about the Glock ones for a little bit.
Well, the Glock is really cool, but the 365 was like the top selling handgun for the past like 5 years or whatever it was, right?
Huh.
So like, I think, I heard something about.
Wait, hold on a second, Kyle. Say that again. The P365 was the top selling pistol for the last couple of years?
Is that in like civilian market? Like what analytics?
It's
I want to see the numbers.
Market that there is, man. They're not. They don't
I have never ever seen a 365 in any law enforcement holster.
Well, of course not, because this is, I think, specifically geared for freaking. It's all right. So Kyle,
J-frame is superior concealed carry handgun, and I will not hear any arguments.
That's fine. That's fine. But you're not carrying one on your hip, are you?
Oh no, I would if my department would let me. I would carry like a L or end frame revolver, and that's it.
Yeah. So
Walking Dead style it.
But besides that, Kyle, freaking, he is. I think you already know he's a huge Glock fan, and. I'm not opposed.
So big.
But I'm not opposed to Glocks, but I shoot SIGs
because you suck.
I shoot the 365s, especially the X Macro Comp, so much better than a Glock. So I'm in your camp. I'm like, yes, the Ramjet and Afterburner for the P365 looks pretty awesome and excited. I got to shoot it. I don't know if you were you at range day?
Yep, I was, and
Yeah.
I did get to shoot it, and it's not a snappy gun already, but it's only like a 3-inch barrel, whatever it is. So
Right.
it's not that bad. But when you put that comp on there and it runs reliably as these ramjets tend to do, it's just flat for such a small handgun.
Yeah, it really does improve it. That was one of the things that I liked about what they did was they had just a standard P365 XL, and then they had the other variations of it. As you went down the line, and you could actually see and feel the difference, and that's something I really
Feel the
appreciated.
jet.
Feel the jet.
Trademarked. We took it first.
Feel the afterburner. And it's not
feel the afterburn.
Yeah, it's not
There we
repeat. But anyway, back to it. You were saying
like
that
that.
was something you that was one you liked. What else?
I did. I like that a lot. I will say, talking about a standalone product that I don't know many people saw was DPMS, right? They make, budget friendly ARs, rifles. They have an AK line as well. DPMS is under.
Wait,
What?
Yeah. Did you not know they make AKs?
what? No.
I'm gonna fact check you in real time.
Google it. Do it. I shot one at the gathering last year.
DPMS AK.
Maybe I did know that.
And they're from called the Anvil.
Oh,
Now, here's something that not many
fact
people
check
knew.
true.
Thank you. See, look at
There you
that.
go.
You can remove the little banner on the bottom now for fact check.
Yeah, right.
DPMS Panther. Now, what is the Panther? I was talking to those guys. I was
The
like, what is this
black cat.
handgun? Is the Panther? Yeah, it's a black cat. They're very sexy. The DPMS Panther is essentially a dagger made on the same line as the daggers, but it's going to be for the DPMS line of firearms, which is not sold like through like normal channels. It's not sold at like Palmetto State Armory. It's sold at like
Through a
Cabela's
trunk?
and distributors. And
Oh, okay.
you know what I'm saying? So like he was saying, yeah, the Panthers would be interesting because you can't just order it like online at PSA. You need to go to a store and like we'll have them Cabela's and stuff.
I thought you're going to say that you had to like drive over to Gary, Indiana, and see this guy and under a bridge, and he opens the trunk of his car.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, like we used to do.
Yeah, like the good Lord intended it. I've sold so many guns on Facebook back in the day. Like
in Minecraft.
No. This is back when it was legal. It was legal back in the. I mean, it's legal. It's in the state of Kansas. Private sales.
It's legal anyways.
Yeah, it's like 100% legal. But I remember Facebook for a while, like you could go on the Facebook gun marketplaces and sell guns there. And I've bought some from trunks of cars, and I've sold some from the bed of my pickup truck on the side of a highway or by the McDonald's.
As it should.
As the Lord intended.
The DPMS Panther is going to be like a dagger priced handgun, but for sold in stores, which really, if you think about it, could shake things up there pretty good too. When you see like this handgun looks like just like a standard 15 round handgun for $3 or whatever, like that's crazy.
Well, isn't like most of like a lot of Palmetto stuff and DPMS, and I think Wyndham was all kind of like the same factory, just going out. It's kind of like generic whiskey, and it just gets relabeled and repackaged from different companies.
I think so. Part of that's true. I think the other part is PSA has bought a lot of companies too. Like they own a lot of companies, or their partnership with them.
They're turning into Hasbro when it comes to toys.
It's the Microsoft of
it is.
The Microsoft is going to keep them buying everybody out, which is the smart play because there's a lot of great companies with a lot of cool stuff that come out with some really interesting handguns and firearms, but they don't have the
like the H9.
No, like we don't want to talk about that. I had an hour and a half discussion today with like all our range guys about the H9, and then the first question I got asked was like, "Had you shoot it?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't," because it didn't have a booth. And then the second thing they want to know about is like the new hotness, the 9mm PCC that Daniel Defense came out. But it's like a $2,000 direct blowback AR9. You're like, hey guys, it's the year of our Lord 2024. Can we just at least figure out?
Give me something, anything.
Like DI. I don't.
Or,
Or roller
maybe
delay.
roller delayed. I don't know.
Lightweight.
That's
I
been
don't know.
around since the
The
60s.
the MP5 has been around since the 60s. Like we have the technology's there. We can rebuild it.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I was sifting through, and I'm not going to dead name it. I was sifting through X today.
Thank you.
And I came across Ryan Kleckner. He's a
Kleckner of sorts.
he runs Gun University. He is a former Ranger guy, Ranger sniper. I think he's first bat, but anyway, he did an article to quote unquote review the H9, and the article did more about talking about the gun tubers that was shilling the H9 for like the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And how everybody's like, oh, it shoots so flat. And then you watch the guy shoot and it's like breaking his wrists every time he pulls the trigger.
Well, we all know gun tubers can't shoot. That's why you got, it's kind of like those who can't shoot YouTube.
Have you shot a mile?
No, but I probably do it fast. I was saying I could do it probably faster than you could.
So anyway, his article basically reinforced a lot of the things that I was seeing as well. And in addition to that, I don't know if you played with the H9, but I thought that the trigger of the sample that they had at Daniel Defense's booth, it was worse than a Glock trigger. You know?
I mean, I messed around with it too, but again, it could have been a prototype or it could have just been banged up from the show. But I have seen some reviews of people like just messing around with the trigger. And I'm like, what is that? Like, it looked terrible just from like them, like, let's ghost it together. You know, it's like watching them ghost it. It's like gritty slosh. Like what?
Now in just to fact check it, Glock is the superior handgun. So yes, technically the H9 trigger is worse than a Glock trigger because the Glock is the superior. If 2008 Jeff ever talked to this current Jeff, he would hate him because I used to be like super anti Glock, and now here I am. Yeah. Like
now
I'm worse than James Reeves when it comes to shilling Glock.
But it just bugs me because, you know, Kyle, you work hard at putting out videos, and I know that you're not the type of guy, at least I feel from my interactions with you, you're not the type of guy that would just be like, oh, this is the new hotness, so I have to talk good about it, you know, to stay in favor with whatever company. And, you know, one of the videos that I saw was this dude, First Magazine shoots 3 rounds, and the 4th round is a dead trigger. And, you know, he goes click and he just kind of pulls the trigger again. And then all of a sudden it jump cuts to a camera angle behind his shoulder. And he's like, well, we're going to continue shooting. And he starts shooting again. And I'm just like, oh, are we just not going to talk about that? We're not going to talk about the dead trigger. What happened? Why was it a dead trigger? Why did it go click, no bang? Was it a round that was a problem? Is it the pistol itself? And I'm starting to see that there's more concerns about accuracy issues. There's issues with feeding reliability, which all of these are systemic issues from the original H9.
There's a reason why it was super cool. It was like 2 years ago in SHOT Show.
It was released 2017.
Yeah, so it was like 2017, and then nothing.
Yeah,
and now it's coming back.
Yeah,
there's a reason.
And one of the reasons why it went away is because it
sucked.
Well, that they had reliability issues, and then the company itself wouldn't pay their suppliers, so they got sued, and that's why they went away. Well, then, and then Daniel Defense comes along, picks up the patent for it, and quote unquote redesigns everything on it, but it's not redesigned. They've put a slide cut into it and maybe changed the texturing on the frame a little bit, but some of the other problems that the original H9 has is starting to creep back away now that we're starting to see people actually review it honestly. So I don't know how you feel about that. I'd love to hear your take on it. You know, I don't want you to say anything that's going to get you in trouble. I don't have a reputation to salvage, so I can just say whatever I want.
Did the original have a optic cut and a rail?
I don't think it did.
I don't think it did. It was like that. That was back when there was like an extra upgrade to do any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I mean,
they improved that. Sure.
They did. Yeah, that was. I'm looking at a picture of it now. I'm like, all right. So what is exciting here? So 1911 grip. 15. Was it 15 round mags? Comes with a free adapter plate for an RDS. Ooh, wow.
Ooh.
Oh, you have to mail away for it though. Yeah, one of those mail aways. I don't know. I mean, it looks cool. The price point, I think, is really high when there's such good quality firearms below that. And I think that it's a hard sell for the majority of shooters, just because, like, why is the question, right?
And I think that is why there were so many guys like Coleon Noir. I'm sure he's a good dude. He's intelligent. He's smart, very articulate. But that dude, man, he was just like, oh, this pistol is the greatest ever. And I think it's those types of guys that was really pushing it, because it's that question right there. Why would I want to do that when I could do? I could get a better pistol in like a CZ SPO7,
or Glock 17.
The
Lord's gun.
A Glock, or any Glock, sure, any Glock, or even
all Glocks or handguns should be Glocks. All handguns need to be 9mm. All 9mm need to be Glocks, and all 9mm Glocks need to be Glock 19s.
Okay. R.I.P. James Reeves.
James Yeager.
Oh my God!
You are the worst person.
I am so bad when it comes to names.
Whoa. We put like
anyways.
a Michelob in Haffens, dude. And
yeah,
he's already...
I'm lit. So, but when it comes to like steel frame pistol, right? Or a metal. Everybody gets so bent around the axle when I say steel. When it's metal, it's not steel. It's actually a poly alloy. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's metal. Okay, a metal framed pistol.
Yeah.
Right. You probably could get something. I would say probably more reliable in a CZ PO1, or even like a PO7.
Or that Turkish metal Glock 19.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
that
like
was garbage.
$350.
That was a terrible gun. Don't buy it.
Which, incidentally, I finally got the report back from my armorer, who's Glock certified, and he's like, yeah, basically the only thing that is interchangeable with a Glock is maybe the trigger shoe and the magazines, and that's about it.
Nice.
The magazines.
So but that's my like TISM rant about the H9.
29.6 ounces also for like
that's like,
I don't know.
Like that's a Smith and Wesson like 686 like plus.
Yeah.
That's a 7-shot 357 steel house revolver.
Yep.
It is cool. It is cool. And if they fixed it, if it runs, then I'm sure you have a nice high bore axis there. It looks cool. Or low bore axis there. It looks cool. So I don't know. Like I said, the question is why, and I guess we'll know if it fizzles out or not.
Well, I posted a picture that came out of the article that Ryan Kleckner wrote that showed the bore axis of a Glock 17 compared to the H9, and the Glock 17's bore axis is actually lower by a fraction of an inch, but it's still lower. But you hear everybody's like, oh, it has such a low bore axis because the trigger mechanism is actually deeper in the frame to allow to allow the barrel to be lower and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, well, just get an alien then,
You could probably get a CZ PO7 and go and get it Cajunized, right? And get a case of ammo and still save $200.
Jeez. $1,200? Is that what the H9 is?
Yeah, at least.
Oh, jeez.
So, talked about the coolest things you saw at SHOT, like gear-wise. Who's the besides present company, obviously? Who was like the coolest person you saw at SHOT that you just like were nerding out when you saw them?
Oh man. What's funny is I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I noticed a lot of folks we know in the industry weren't even there. So like a lot of the big players that I know personally, right? Like, so I met up with Eric, IB88. I go to his range every year too, down in Georgia. talk with them a little bit, and I think you guys did too for Chad. I think
we
Yeah,
talked to
Chad.
Chad and Ava.
Good people.
Ava cracked me up that morning. She was not
She
a
was
happy camper.
not in good spirits. No.
There wasn't anyone who like blew me away. I mean, I met a lot of folks that I haven't seen before. I met a lot of companies that either haven't talked to, or a lot of people at these companies also, they move around. It's these gun companies are the real companies. People move in and out of them all the time, so
Yeah.
a lot of your contacts float around quite a bit, and people from last year, you might go to the booth this year and they'd be like, oh, he left and went to here or whatever.
You see him at
So-
that booth.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
2 booths down, and they're like, "Oh, that's awkward."
He went to the competitor. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. So
Yeah, nothing really too crazy. I did notice was the lack of, I guess, media, and it definitely like content guys.
Yeah, it seems. Again, I've only been to 2 SHOT shows, so my bias is skewed. But it felt like this year, since I feel like a lot of people make their decision on going to a SHOT show about a week or 2 before, and because usually companies are hinting at what they're releasing, and everyone saw the writing on the wall that besides PSA, there's really no one's going to be doing anything.
Yeah,
It wasn't that exciting. There's some cool stuff, but it's definitely either the cool stuff was down in the basement and you had to go dig around some companies to go see some cool stuff that they're working on. It's like super innovative or just unique. And then it was everyone else was like, hey, here's an FDE version of one of our guns.
exactly.
We're releasing
Here's the Shadow 2 with a 3.5-inch barrel.
yeah, ooh,
Yeah.
innovative.
I'm a
I
big
went through.
fan.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I went through the. I ran through the HK booth. I mean, I ran through it to get a shortcut to another booth, but I went through the HK.
Did you get chased away saying like, oh, you don't make enough money, get out of here?
Yeah, there was like a pitchfork. They were lighting a torch. It was weird.
Very nice pitchfork and torch, by the way.
It was a nice one. It was gold.
It's gold plated.
The flame was blue for some reason. It was really cool. Get out of here, pet.
And same with the Glock booth. I walked through there and just kind of fidgeted because I'm actually the 43. We talked about like the 43X, the 43, the 42, the 48. I mean, there are some cool, and they feel really good in the hand, especially comparing to like the new Dagger micros and stuff. But it's funny, like looking at some of these companies, they didn't really have anything new. They're just like it's like a show. Like here's our product line still.
It's like as much as I love Glock, like the recent guns are like, hey, we took a 19 frame, put a 17 slide on it. Woo! And then we put a 19 barrel on a 17 slide. This is innovation at its greatest.
Now an FDE.
It came out with like I think it was Honest Outlaw. It was like the new Glock 19X MOS. I'm like, what? This wasn't the new?
Wait, what? Yeah. Oh, because it has a slide cut.
Yeah, it had a slide cut on it. It was just, I saw that and I was like, we had the 19X, the actual true winner of the MHS project.
Correct.
Got cut by SIG because
I will go to bat on that each and every single time. Even though to this day, when I have a P320 M17 versus Glock 19X video and people are like, you don't know what you're talking about, the Glock 19 wasn't modular, and I'm like, yeah, read the freaking requirements for the program and you will see it was just as modular as the P320.
So what no one understands, especially when it comes to military, except for those who are in the military, that shit does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
You will get issued that gun and you're not allowed to change anything
Nothing.
on it. You will not be able to touch it. You will just get it. You
can
if you're lucky, you will just kind of brush off the grease that's still on that. Like we got my previous unit just got brand new M17s, and we've been out to the range. We were out to the range like our second time, and we're still pulling things out of like their Cosmoline packages. And you couldn't put an optic on it. You couldn't even put a flashlight on it. You got they issued them with like Safariland, ALS, SLS holsters, so that's pretty cool. But you're not allowed to do anything with them. So the idea of, hey, we're going to have these handguns that are fully modular and you could change the grip sizes and barrel lengths. They're not going to let you do that anyway, so it didn't really fucking matter. You know, I was really mad because when the M17 before that project or that contract was bought and they fielded all of them, we had brand new Beretta M9A3s, the A4s.
Nice.
They were FDE, of course, and they were railed. They're beautiful guns. Like I got one, and I was just like, this is it. This is the love of my life because I loved the 92. And I'm also hit the mic. I'm a fan of the 92. Throughout my entire military career, and everyone hated them. I don't know why, but I love mine. But
I really liked the 92X RDO. I ran that, and it's really, really nice. I would tell you, one of the companies that really did impress me, and this is one company that I actually haven't talked about in any of the previous discussions or podcasts, is EAA. Now, I get it. They are
a Windicator.
Yeah, they're an importer of Turkish clone type pistols and stuff. When it comes to like their new 2311 line, they're crushing it because they've got 45s, they've got 9mm, they've got 10mm, they got different barrel lengths, and all of those, they're all the kind of staccato style polymer grip on a metal frame that is connected to a slide, obviously. That whole 2011 style, but they've got it in just about every caliber that you would want it right now. And in addition to that, they've partnered up with another company that will design a grip specifically to your hand as well. And I was like, oh man, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, it seemed really gimmicky because
it does.
Because it was like you grip, you like get this kit, you grip it, and then they 3D print it.
Yes.
But if like one day, say if your grip changes, or hell, if you have to shoot it one-handed or off-handed, it will throw all that magic.
That's
off.
true. No, that's 100%
it's a very good.
true.
It's a very good like game gun idea, but for like practical gun, I was like, okay, that's
for you and I, absolutely 100%. But I would say
for Kyle though, on the other
no, but I would say that 60-70% of people out there who own firearms, they may go to the range a handful of times a year. They may shoot maybe 200 rounds a year. So having something that grips to their hand because they just don't know any better, they may actually like that idea. Not to say that's right. Not saying that's right. Train often. But that's kind of my thing.
I would say the last day of SHOT Show, me and Jeff actually went by EAA. I did a video on EAA. I think I set it off live last week. But 2311, the Witness, I think it was. They also have the high powers, and they're doing like lightweight high powers. They're doing high powers with rails. Like there's some cool stuff there.
And they've got their 92, their Beretta 92 clones.
Yep.
They do that too. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're the best ever. I mean, obviously, I had issues with my Gerson and had to send it in to EAA a couple of times to get it right. That's just kind of how it is when it comes to 9mm 1911s. They're real finicky. So there might be some tuning, there might be some gunsmithing that needs to happen to it, but the things that I saw EAA doing and trying to bring forth the things that people are asking for, I thought was really awesome of them. So,
and then it was kind of funny because we went to the EAA booth and then immediately went to the Alchemy.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
and it was just like, never mind. Everything has been a lie. This is wonderful.
Well, I mean, how expensive are those 1911s?
What was that? Like $100,000, $125,000?
No, that was for the 1911 of the month club. It was $120,000 a year, and you got like 6 guns, so that each gun will be like 20K. Yeah, 20K a pop.
Jeez.
But they were cool guns. They were really nice shooting guns. I bet. You won't never shoot them, and to be honest, you'd probably make money off of that.
Yeah.
You'd probably drop 120K, and then
Well, think about the wait list is 100 people long, and they got like 25 people total.
I think it was only was it? I thought it was like 24 people. They only did like 20. It's like in the 20s.
Yeah.
But he's saying that the wait list to get
the wait list.
Oh yeah, the wait list to get all the 24. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like people are buying them.
Look, I'm a 1911 fan, but just give me. I just said a fan. I didn't say I didn't say anything.
Yeah, he just bought a Prodigy, so we'll see how that turns out.
I did just buy a Prodigy. Now, I didn't buy it brand new. I bought it used, so Springfield did not get my money.
Well, what you should do is you talk to John AOR.
Yeah,
because he shoots competition with the Prodigy. So
does he?
Yeah, that's like his competition gun.
Is it really?
Yeah, he had he has a whole thing about it. So you need to hit him up.
So bad.
Why?
He
shoots better than you.
Of course he does, because that's all he does. But
those who can't YouTube.
No, those who can't teach.
That's fair. That's okay. And those who can't teach YouTube. so we talked about shot and all the videos you've come out with. So outside of guns, and you said you do stuff with like the Tacomas, camping, and like the e-bikes. So how did that all kind of pick off? Like, was this something that naturally happened along with the ride, or are you just into cars? Or
I'm not really a car guy. I mean, a Tacoma is kind of a safe choice. I think a lot of people like to go into that one because it's reliable, right? I mean, you can't really go wrong.
All three of us own a Tacoma.
My Tacoma's in the repair shop for the past like week and a half, so I'm driving a Chevy Equinox.
Speaking of which, are you okay? Is everything okay?
No, it's not okay. Thanks for asking.
Well, what happened?
Huh?
Can you get into it? What happened? Just 50,000 foot.
Yeah.
So,
is it embarrassing?
No, it's not embarrassing. It's just more of I was at my dad's wedding, and
long ago?
Yeah, it was that long ago. I was at my dad's wedding. Oh. One of my family members, one of my new family members, I don't know who it was, backed into my truck and drove off, probably drunk, and then we never figured out who it was. So, when my dad married my mother-in-law.
Was there like white paint?
No. It was I just got
goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. No, we it was just I got to the parking lot and there was like a pile of it. It was like the lightest fender bender. It and it's a brand new, it's like a newer truck, so it's like $6,000 worth of damage just to get it fixed. But,
worst.
I mean, my insurance paid for it, so I'm not too worried about it. I paid my $200 deductible. They even was nice about it. They actually I had a car seat in it, and so they bought me a brand new car seat.
Wow,
because it was technically in an accident. So that was pretty nice of them. Thanks a lot, USAA.
Yeah.
USAA. Thank you. Thank you for my service.
Yeah, I just called them today.
Oh, did you break?
I didn't break anything. I'm disputing a charge on my credit card for a certain immaculate AR folder device.
That's fraud.
That's not fraud.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can't you paid it. Like dispute.
I did pay it, and they sent me a defective product.
I'm not going to get into this. We're not going to get into this. Tacomas.
I called them, and
you're done. You're done.
No, I called them.
No, I don't want to hear about a felony on the podcast.
It's not a felony. I called them. They're going to do an investigation and determine whether or not they're going
Tacomas,
to pay me back.
What do you got? Do you got like a SR5, TRD Pro? What do we got here?
Oh man. No, I picked up a 2020 TRD off-road.
That's what I got. That's what I got.
I've got the sport.
Silver, and I was very close to getting a sport. It was kind of between the two, but they had a silver off-road like on the lot that day, and I was like, perfect. And that was right before the craziness that is the last few years of the car dealerships.
So it was
a little easier. Yeah, 2020, like right. Actually, I went. It was funny. The pandemic hit, and I was driving like an old Subaru Legacy from that I bought like a long time ago, and I was like, you know what? Because I get it up in New Hampshire because it snows a lot, so I got something with all-wheel drive, and I was like, I gotta get rid of this thing. I'm tired of sedans. So I went. And I was like, you know what? Everyone's hiding inside now. I bet no one's at the dealership. So I go to the dealership and they're like, oh, you're the first person we've seen all week. And I'm like, let's talk about deals here. And I got a great deal.
I bought I did the same thing. I bought my Tacoma in June of 2020.
Yep. Man,
And it was
May
right
2020.
before
There you go.
Yeah. It hit right
September
there.
2020.
There it is.
Actually,
Look at us smart guys.
Yeah, early October 2020. It was the deployment gift to myself. I got back from my deployment. I was like, I need a new truck.
I thought it was a motorcycle.
Nope. I did that already. I already did the motorcycle. Manual, automatic.
No, just automatic. Yeah,
so close.
I know.
He's a manual.
I got a manual one.
He's got the Zoomer anti-theft device.
Yeah, so no one's gonna steal a truck.
I like the idea of it. Actually, if I ever got what's on my mind now is maybe like a sport car of some type. I would probably do a manual just for fun, little weekend driver.
The only negative thing I have to say about the manual or the automatic is it has like no eco mode at all. So like the highway miles suck.
Oh, really?
Like the gas mileage, I get like either 15 or 17.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Compared to, everyone's probably get like 20s in the 20s. Well, this man drives like an old man. He will not go over 2 miles per hour.
Oh, you're talking about that.
It's the most annoying thing ever. We drove to that class
night vision class.
In Fort Scott, and it was the longest drive. We're driving down the highway. It's like 75 miles per hour, and this man will not go over 68. Not even like 69. Like, make it nice at least. But
we talked about that. It is.
Yeah. What was what's your gas mileage again?
Well, right now it's pretty good because I'm driving a Chevy Equinox. That little car has like 0 get up and go.
It's funny because Nan, she has the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
She is so annoyed anytime we drive out to the property.
Yeah, it probably takes you like 3.5 days to drive there.
I'll let her drive so I can work in the passenger seat. Work remotely, and she's like, okay, how fast can I go? And I'm like, if you can keep it at or below 72, that would be great.
This guy.
I'm telling you, man, freaking
like my
16 miles.
My 1993 Chevy school bus goes. I can get like 15 miles a gallon going. 68 miles per hour. You should be able to do it as well.
So,
what are some of the upgrades?
Tell me what mods you got.
Oh yeah. So I wouldn't say grew up, but I used to watch a lot of the off-road trails and stuff that people take, especially out of like Colorado, and like nowadays overlanding is real big. In fact, I went to Overland East, which is like a big gathering of off-road vehicles and RVs and vans, and I met up with John Patton a couple years ago.
Battle wagon.
He had the battle wagon when it was an empty shell, and he was like living with an air mattress, a cooler, and a box fan on like a jackery, and he's like, this is living. I'm like, honestly, that's all you need. So and he was having a good time, and we messed around with it and everything, and we talked to a lot of different vendors, and he actually got me in with a bunch of the manufacturers just to break the ice and talk with them a little bit. And I met up with Front Runner and Diamondback, who makes like really nice truck bed covers, and I've been testing out various tonneau covers because Toyota has a tonneau cover. There's a couple of like cheap budget options on Amazon, which, going back to my Amazon roots, I bought a couple of them.
Is that the roll top one? Like the
it's like a trifold.
Okay,
and they're hard, so you can usually stand on them, right? So or like
a backflip or something like that.
A backflip. He has a couple of Rough Country makes one, so I got one from Rough Country. I got another one from like an off-brand knockoff from Amazon. Tried that out. Did a couple of reviews on them. Then I reached out to Diamondback, and then Diamondback actually sent me out one of the truck bed covers. And Diamondback's one of the more pricey models for a bed cover, but they're amazing, like rock solid, and they're one of the few that actually are watertight. Like there's an actual nice seal, where the trifolds is always like cracks in between that you can try to seal it up as best you can, but if you're out camping,
always a little bit.
Yep. So Diamondback's great. Front Runner works with them to make rails. So how I did I know you're a rooftop tent guy too there, Mark. So I went and I did Front Runner rails with the rack system, and then I put so far I have a Smitty built that I threw on there.
Okay.
I do want to get some other. I want to get a hard shell pop up as well because Smitty built's the old zipper kind.
Yep.
And it takes a while to put up, and I'd rather just do like a hard top pop up.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things. I've got the iCamper Skycap Mini 2.0, and so that's got the hard shell that opens like a clam, and then it folds out for your tent. And if you can figure out the direction of the wind and just point that shell into the wind, you will never, not never, but you will not get all of that flapping noise that tents typically have from being beaten by the wind. And that's that's the reason why I went ahead and spent the extra money. I could have spent a third the cost on a rooftop tent, but once I saw I think it's Last Line of Defense, he did a review of like 3 different types of rooftop tent, and that was the selling feature for me on the iCamper, was that hard shell being a windbreak. I was like, that's it right there. So
in the world of iCamper, in the world of rooftop tents, I think iCamper kind of is the best one for the Tacoma size, at least.
Yeah, I'm the Giga Chad. I have a soft topper on the back of mine, and I just sleep in that.
Yeah,
no,
I'm actually. So I'm actually reversing my Tacoma. I've got the up top Overland low bed rack, and then the iCamper on top of that, and I'm taking the iCamper off because I now have a pull behind like teardrop type of thing, and I'm going to put the iCamper on top of that. I'm going to get rid of the bed rack, which Jefe just did that too.
Yep,
he got rid of his, and then I'm going to get the soft topper like he has as well. So
more room.
Yeah, so I had the up. So we both have the up top Overland stuff. Had they have like a bed rack that goes over the soft topper, and more than anything, it was I had to take. So when I took my truck in to get it fixed, I had to take all that stuff off. And I just kind of looked at it, I'm like, this is the only thing this is being used for right now is holding 2 roto packs, and that's it.
Yep.
So ended up selling that, and that's going to go to the Lipsy's Ultimate J-frame carry gun whenever Ace gets that. Ooh, beautiful little revolver. But and then I'm going to buy the there's a company. I just had it up on my phone and I just shut it off. There's a company called Topper Tent, and they make like a little hatch guy for the soft topper, so it packs in there, so it goes with you everywhere you go. Because I'm assuming you have a 5-foot bed, correct?
Yes,
or like 5.5 foot. It's really great if you sleep at an angle, but if you try to sleep straight, let me rephrase this for people that are over 5 foot. So Mark can probably lay in the back of the the truck just fine
every time. Look, right. I don't have any control over being 5'6 3/4. Okay.
You do, but like
this.
First of all, through Jesus, all things are possible.
So go ahead and jot that down.
So what would you do a soft topper for? I don't want to go off topic, but I'm looking at it. So soft toppers, they're a little under $1,000 or so, depending on which one you get. So what's the benefit of it? And obviously it's not going to be as secure for security's sake as a trifold.
So what's nice about the soft toppers that I really enjoyed with my truck was the fact that one, it doubles as a tent. So I could use it as like a truck bed tent. It has the kind of the camper top feel to it where you can put larger loads in it. Nice. Kind of like your mom. You can actually put things and stand them up and have them covered like a traditional like topper, camper topper for the back of a pickup truck. But then you can. Hi. Oh, you and Donnie. Sorry, someone came downstairs to steal a dog. And then what's nice about the soft toppers because then you can just like fold it down. And so if you don't need a topper for any reason, you can just fold it down and it packs away on itself.
Yeah. And that was one of the points too, that I know that Nan, she's not a big fan of the look of them. I actually kind of like the look at them, but the fact that it can fold down so you get your truck
Truck bed
space.
back.
Yeah, you get your entire
yeah.
truck bed back. Yeah. Whereas, I mean, you could do that with like a backflip or one of those type of foldable or roll top tonneau covers, but you still kind of lose a little bit of your bed space.
Well, yeah, you can only your load can only be as tall as or deep as the your load can be only as deep as the bed
So many
and have it
jokes here.
covered instead of having it, essentially the cab height. I remember, I think when I bought my truck, I think that like December, I put that soft topper on, and then like 2 weeks later, I was hauling a like an antique refrigerator, antique ice box before we even had refrigerators,
Ooh.
in the bed of that truck in a snowstorm, and it kept it covered and everything. You couldn't do that in a roll top because you only have that
Yeah.
2-3 inches
2.5
depth
feet,
instead of
yeah.
the 6 or whatever,
Yeah.
or the 4 or 5. So
How do you sleep in this thing if it's a 5-foot bed?
right now, what I do is if I angle a sleeping mat from from one corner to the other, it works okay. I just can't have really much in the back. But
What he's really not telling you is he just curls up in the fetal position.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that with sleeping mats. I wish you could, because that's how I usually sleep, is the fetal position. Like, I have huge mom issues. But but if you I just lay my sleeping mat catty corner and sleep like that. But the topper tent, what you can do, it's like an extension for it, so you drop your tailgate and it gives you that extra 2.5 feet.
Yeah,
so you can lay out nice and cozy. Like, I slept at Breckenridge in the back of that thing.
Oh, nice.
When it was -8 degrees outside.
What about like getting one of those bed conforming inflatable mattresses?
The only thing I don't like about those, because then it takes up the entire bed of the truck.
Okay.
So I'm usually a guy that I either throw a sleeping mat or a cot in there so that I can have some room to store all my gear still. And when you have that entire entire bed of your truck has an air mattress, it's like cool. If I need to like take my shoes off, I'm putting it right into my bed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So you have your tailgate all down. Your feet are out there. You're at Breckenridge. Someone could come up and suck on your toes. No. We don't know.
No. So what I actually I'll have to send you a picture of this. I actually made at one point my own like boot extension for the thing.
Oh, okay.
And it did not survive a Breckenridge snowstorm. Let me rephrase that. It kept the snow out, and it kind of fell apart after that. So I just kind of tossed it. This is about 2 years ago, I had this fascination of just like DIY overlanding stuff. So I actually built like a 207-degree awning. It's still in my garage. I never really set it up on my truck because I could never get a cover made for it. And then I built that boot extension as well, and worked out great. I mean, kept the snow out, but as DIY projects usually are, they don't really last as long, and it wasn't the best design. But hey, it was -8 outside. I didn't die, or at least if I did, this is a great simulation I'm in right now. Or this is purgatory.
How did you stay warm?
I had a buddy heater in there, plus all 3 layers of a sleep system.
Yeah,
I had a lot of sleep, and then still slept in full clothing. And
okay, so that actually brings up a really good point when it comes to the sleep system. All right, so the military sleep system is 3 pieces. 3 pieces, right? So it's
technically 5, but what?
Right. So you have a thick sleeping bag, covered by a thin sleeping bag, covered by a bivy cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trained when it first was issued that you were supposed to sleep like in your skivvies.
Depends.
It depends.
It all depends.
Were you like in silks or like wool socks and stuff like that?
Waffles and wool socks.
Okay. All right. It's good to know. It's good to know.
The what I always hate that they don't teach you is the common sense thing is it's 3 layers. You have a lightweight, a heavyweight, and a rain cover, essentially. So the logical thing you think is I take my lightweight and put it in my heavyweight, and then put the heavyweight into the rain sack. it doesn't work that way.
Right.
It actually ruins this. Like, it makes it impossible to sleep when like super cold weather like
Right.
that.
Right.
So
and it's one of the big things when it comes to like some of my like camping / quote unquote survival kit that I'm building is the majority of it is just military surplus. You know,
Americana pipe dream.
well, that, yeah. The only thing
Shameless
that I'm
plug-in.
like, the only thing that I'm like spending extra money on are real high quality wool socks, like the Hollow and the Smart Wool socks.
Yeah, Darn Tough is my go-to. The Darn Tough.
You know, I've
socks.
heard good things about them. They got like
That's what I
lifetime
wore all
warranty.
SHOT Show and walked all day in those things. Isn't it?
That's,
My feet were
man,
great.
that's why your room smelled so bad.
No, that's because Jacob, this mad lad, he like, I think day one were like cowboy boots and like cotton socks. Like, oh, my feet hurt for some reason. Like, hey man, this is the Super Bowl. You don't show up in that shit. So like, so we talked about our rig, and so you're trying to get into you're doing some of the overlanding stuff. Like, what's some of the other events or like trails that you've done?
Well, before we get into that, you were talking about Overland East, and
Yeah.
they just started one. I think this past year was the first year that they did it down just outside of Pittsburgh, Kansas, not Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Kansas. Where's Big Brutus?
Yeah.
They had a overlanding
Expo over there.
Yeah. I think they call it Overland Midwest.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
It's
think
cool.
they're kind of trying to do that. So explain, obviously,
What is overlanding?
Yeah.
I said, there you go. Let's do that. Kyle, what is overlanding?
All right. Well, I'm not an overlander, but
Yes, you are.
yeah,
You have a
yes,
you have a Tacoma.
You have a
Exactly.
Tacoma. You probably have like 2 Tupperware totes full of like all sorts of camping gear that fits
Yep.
perfectly in the back there.
Yep.
Probably in the
Actually, I'm made one long tote now.
Ooh, that's what she likes.
Yep.
I was told the big totes hurt.
Yeah,
So I
you don't
have
want
small
too big,
totes. And then I bet you under your seat you have an assortment of tools.
Yep.
Do you have and this is kind of where you figure out like where the overlander is. Do you have an air compressor on board anywhere?
No, actually, because I do have one in my bin, right, that I can hook
Mhm.
up, and I have a little jackery that I carry around just in
Yep.
case for
This
whatever.
man's an overlander.
Yep.
Yeah. Aren't you? Didn't you like do a bunch of reviews on jackery products?
I did. Yeah, I did some some stuff on Instagram, just reviewing how to charge it with solar, how efficient it is, and then I have I have like a heated blanket that you can use. I have a refrigerator that can go in the back. That's like a budget option from Amazon. That
This guy
you can
is
run
an
it for
overlander.
It's
12
so
hours on the
overlander.
jacker. It's great. Yeah, overlanding. To go back to your question, though, overlanding it's funny. It's camping, but it's more wilderness, right? Really, it's kind of like we used to go backpacking all the time, and like we would go like for a week at a time, and just go on the AT or whatever it is, and we go there for like a week, and you just live out of your backpack and have food in your bag, and it's kind of like living out of your vehicle.
Just so people know, the AT is the
Appalachian
Appalachian Trail.
That goes all the way to Ireland.
All the way to Ireland, yeah,
All the way to
right
Ireland.
to Guinness.
Yeah. No, this is a true fact. Like the Appalachian, like the Appalachian Mountains.
I see.
Like they actually go all the way to Ireland. Is just you can't hike. So the people are like, I've hiked all the AT. Like, no, you haven't. You haven't done the ocean.
You haven't gone to Ireland yet.
You haven't gone to Ireland there.
You have to swim a little bit, but it's all right.
So,
But anyway, yeah.
Do you-
Appalachian Trail. Yeah.
do you ever watch Maverick, like Minnesota kid? Do you see his YouTube channel?
No, I watch like Last Line of Defense and Talon Sai and
Okay,
those
yeah.
guys quite a bit.
So there's a kid from Minnesota. This guy I started he has like millions of followers now, but his entire shtick was originally, hey, I'm going to show some videos of me fishing in Minnesota, like bass and pike fishing. And then he's like, hey, I'm just going to, I'm young. I'm like 16 or 17. I'm going to just build a F-150 camper and live in it. And he is like all his adventures in that F-150. And now he's got to the point where he has like like 8 or 10 different campers and makes that one right there, that guy, and does like all this crazy stuff.
Literally, his YouTube channel is at Mav.
Yeah, that's
so
how old
MAV.
like how old that channel is, because it's it's one of those people that were back in the internet. You didn't have to do like Mav 888-72-269-69420 to actually get a YouTube channel. It was at Mav, and he has all these crazy like his kind of claim to fame was, I'm going to cook really, really nice Wagyu steaks in my camper shell truck. So, but I digress. Great channel to follow if you're really into that sort of stuff. That's what got my tism going on living in the bed of my truck, and then my wife got mad.
Yep.
We bought a house. Why do you want to live in your truck? The wilderness calls to me.
So you went to Overland East, and that's kind of so basically overlanding, for anyone that hasn't already picked up, is basically camping utilizing your vehicle.
It's backpacking. Like instead of going backpacking, you're doing it all in your vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Right. So that's kind of the premise of it, which then ends up being a lot of convenience that you can, kind of inject into your quote unquote camping trips, hiking trips, whatever. I remember, yes, it was right after Kalash Bash of 22. Nan and I went to Clinton Lake and camped there with some friends, and
not me.
Not
you didn't
you,
invite
no,
me.
Yeah, no. And
it's fine.
They were like hardcore backpackers. Like they were like calculating the ounces of all the different pieces of flatware that they would use to eat with to make sure that they had the lightest rig possible. And here I come rolling up with my Tacoma and rooftop tent and got the big freaking Plano chest with all of the different cooking utensils and camping stuff. And they're like, oh my God, you pack so heavy. I can't imagine, hiking or doing any type of camping like that. And sure as shit, I was like, yeah, we pack heavy, but we have everything we need. About 3 hours into it, all of a sudden, here comes the knocks on the truck. Hey, would you guys happen to have an extra fan that we could use for the tent? And I was like, yeah, matter of fact, I do.
The best way I always kind of describe overlanding, like to its core, is, do you guys ever see the movie a Goofy movie? Like the Goofy movie?
Oh,
like the cartoon?
Yeah.
No, that's the first one. There's a scene where Max and Goofy are setting up their little tent and going fishing, and Pete and his son show up with that like big RV rig, and everything was so much cooler at their side.
Yeah.
That's like overlanding your Pete at that point. You're like, I got, I roll up to the campsite. I have everything I need, stuff I even don't need, but it's nice to have.
I think Goofy was cooking a can of beans with a cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was situational depend. That was because Bigfoot happened to raid their camp and everything like that. So that's not their fault,
but so you went to Overland East.
We're back there.
Yeah, I'm going back to that because I wanted Kyle to kind of explain what that atmosphere is like. What is it that you do there, other than there's a whole bunch of guys that show up with their Tacomas and their rooftop tents?
Tundras are pretty popular.
Okay,
now.
Tundras, or they're freaking the Ford Maverick, is that what they're called?
I don't think anybody. Maverick, I don't think. No, the Rangers. I think will.
Well, you have the Rangers
there's
too.
The Maverick,
I think
too.
The Maverick too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's the Maverick, but I don't think anybody overlands on that because it's a 2-wheel drive. Like, weird.
No one serious does. And then you got the Bronco.
Hey, my stepmom-in-law drives a Bronco,
and
it's not a fun vehicle. I don't like it.
But anyway, so all these guys show up to this event. What do you do then?
So it's this one. Yeah, well, pretty much. Yeah, if you want, whatever your fancy is. Yeah. So I mean, I went a couple of years ago. I think it's every October. So it's not just like rooftop tents. It's also regular campers, like smaller RVs, and also obviously all the camper vans are real popular in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And they have like storytellers there, like some big name brands, but then also all the gear, and there's so much clothing, stoves, lights, different battery companies. There's like different companies who, if you have a van, you can pay them to essentially slide in a whole unit that includes like a kitchen and bed and power, and it just slides into the van and hooks it up, and it's
So
kind of neat.
This company is sliding their unit
Sliding their unit
into your box.
Yep. No lubrication, really. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there's also motorcycles. It was actually pretty cool. I rode like an overland dirt bike, and they have like they let you do like test rides and stuff around like the dirt road there. And it was kind of cool to have like, a lot of folks like camping out of especially out west. They like taking their dirt bikes and they'll load a bunch of gear on the back and just ride out and camp.
Straight up
and
Resident
real
Evil.
minimalistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Are
I
they-
was looking it up. It's called this one is the Midwest Overlanding and Off-Road Expo 2024 is in Springfield, Missouri this year
Oh,
There you
in
go.
April.
You should check it out. It's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely. In April. April what? Date?
It's like I think it's like the 4th and 5th, like the first week of April. It looks like.
I might be able to do that. I might be able to swing that because the week after is Clash Bash.
I think they're sending me to Fletsy that week, so I don't know.
But so what are some of the things that you saw there that got you excited that obviously you're going to start working on content now?
So, I mean, I went, when I went, it was 2 Octobers ago. So I took away from that things that I wanted to do to my truck. So obviously I wanted a better bed cover. I saw a lot of the Diamondback stuff and I was like, okay, I got to have that. So I got one of those in. I wanted to build out a rooftop tent. I wanted to test different tents also. Like I started with a budget option with the Smittybilt. Now I kind of want to try different ones, but the Tacoma with a 5-foot bed, you're kind of limited on what you can get. There's a lot of rooftop tents that are super flat that just open and pop straight up.
Yep.
Those are the quickest to set up, but you need to put them on a roof, right?
Yes.
Now those are great too, but then there's also all of some of the tailgate features. There's different molly racks that you can put in your tailgate, like you can put along the bed, inside of the bed.
Right.
There's actually a food grade. I ended up getting it off Amazon from like Hoke off-road or something. There's a food grade panel that I took all the ridges out of the tailgate and put this panel in, and you can like cut on it. You can cook on it. You can sit on it. It's much more comfortable.
That's man. You're gonna have to send that to me, yeah, because that's where I do all of my cooking when
it's a game changer.
We're out camping and stuff. When out at the property, yeah,
because those ridges on the back obviously are not good for all that.
Well, and I use like a Coleman 2-burner stove.
Yep,
and it's always like sliding around on my tailgate.
I'll shoot you a link for that. There's also a lot of folks use the Coleman. I have one of those from just camping, the 2-burner, but a lot of folks use like the gas one. They use the butane single burner.
Yeah.
And because it's so compact and it's so fuel efficient that it's an easy option to have for cooking.
I've slowly gone away from the Coleman 2-burner because I have like the Gladiator series. I don't know what that one's supposed to be, but for me it seems like it's either off or way too hot.
No, yeah.
I'm a purist. I go it's the jet boiler or nothing. If I can't make it,
jet boiler's good.
See, and I've gotten to a point where I'm cooking almost solely in cast iron.
Oh, I love cast iron.
Yeah, cast iron on the Coleman burners. Coleman two-burner stove. And I've gotten, I would say, pretty decent at it. I cook a mean steak on them. So
allegedly,
I mean, Nan's happy with them. Some sautéed onions on top of that.
Lost me.
Mm-hmm.
So do you actually go out and do a lot of overlanding out there in the Carolinas? Is there a lot of like opportunities to go out there and do some crazy stuff?
That's the trick. So you can, but it's not as prevalent as out west, right? So out west is a lot more space and a lot more like parks and national forests that allow you to do that. There are a lot of forests here too, but we're heavily wooded as well on the East Coast, and there's not a lot of like public space. A lot of it's just private owned property. So we actually went camping on. There's a couple of beaches that are really cool right near like the Outer Banks, which is the far east coast of North Carolina here. And you can actually camp right on the beach, which is great for a rooftop tent because you don't have to worry about sand because you can just shake everything off as you climb the ladder, and then you can have a nice non-sandy bed. And then there's also in the mountains, there's a bunch of national forests that we would go out, and it's free to camp. You find a spot off the trail, and with a truck, you bring leveling blocks. I have a leveling block kit. You can just go and park on a rock or get the leveling blocks, and you can really get it nice and level. But we have a couple of younger kids, so I've gone camping maybe like 3 or 4 times in this rooftop tent since I got it about a year or so ago. And we try to go out more and more, but it would be nicer to be out west with it, just to have more space and just kind of get out into the wilderness a little easier.
Yeah, we have that same issue here in Kansas where it's there's a whole lot of nothing, but somebody owns it.
Yep.
So it's as you're driving dirt roads or highways, it's just barbed wire fences everywhere. So unless you go through, we have like a couple small state parks, but if we want to go do anything, we have to drive. I mean, it's only an 8-hour drive to Colorado, so it's not too hard to on a weekend, leave. I've done this several times where I've left after work, drove to about Colby, Lyman area, camped like in a rest stop, and then headed on west, and you can get some good, all these trails in for a day or two, and then haul it on back.
Yep.
And here's one of the things that I got big into overlanding, rooftop tent camping over the last, I would say, 3 years. But this year, I'm actually changing everything and getting away from a rooftop tent configuration as most people see it for overlanding, because of one experience going out to Colorado to climb Mount Elbert, which is a 14,000 foot peak, the 14er is what they call them. We went out there to camp and then to climb the mountain. And the second day that we were out there, it rained all day long. It was just a torrential downpour.
And it soaked everything.
But the inside of the tent, the rooftop tent, was great. It was dry. But that's the problem. We were stuck inside the rooftop tent all day and all night until the rain stopped. And that's when I realized that this is a great idea, but if I ever have to get out of there, need to leave for any reason, I got to pack up and go. I mean, we could have easily gone into town. I can't remember, man, what's the name of that town? Leadville? I think it's Leadville.
Yep.
Right there. And we could have gone in town, checked that it's a really cute town, and just kind of hung out there.
World's highest brewery is,
yes,
sorry, not the world, sorry, the highest brewery in the U.S. is there.
That's right.
They have a review. I was just in Leadville this summer, last summer, and they have a review up there that said like terrible beer, and that's all, like 1 star. That's all it's like, and they have it printed out and have like they take a bunch of their negative reviews, print it off, and hang it up awesome. There.
And we would have been able to see that had we not been in a rooftop tent, because like I said, I'd have to pack everything up, drive where I wanted to go, and then come back and set everything back up. And that's why I went ahead and bought like a pull behind teardrop style camper, just something real small, and I can put the rooftop tent on top of that for the kids. So anytime that we go someplace and it starts raining and we don't want to hang out, we just pack up and go.
So this guy, I had a I had a little teardrop camper that we ended up selling about the summer, and then like 2 months later he goes and buys one.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, like, you knew I had this. I was selling it.
So we did talk about it, and you said it was really expensive.
Yeah,
you're like, it's really expensive.
Yeah, I think we sold it for like $11,000.
Yeah. So and I bought mine for a third less than that.
Yeah.
So,
But mine had some cool stuff in it.
it did. No, it did.
We
It was
sold it so
cool.
we can fund the bus project.
Yes. That.
yeah.
How's the wife enjoying that?
I mean, it's not even remotely close to done, and I need to have at least something workable by mid-April. So
yeah.
So we'll see how that all turns out.
See how that goes.
Yeah.
It's funny it's funny the journey you take from what you're learning when you're testing this stuff out. That's kind of what we all test this stuff out. You're like, oh, I want a rooftop tent. Oh, now I want a trailer, and now I want to do a combo. Like, I'm wondering if rooftop tents, much like camper vans, they're not really a fad, but like it's just a changing trend that kind of evolves. And I just don't know how well camper vans and rooftop tents sell nowadays compared to what the popularity peak was maybe a couple of years ago.
So I think what it was is kind of like the lifestyle they were selling. It was the, hey, wherever your car is at, you have a tent, and what
van life
and
van life, yeah.
In the van life, actually, I still have a friend. She's lived in a van, I think, for 3 years now, and still loves it. Still does, is planning on upgrading the van. And I think it's just more especially like the van life is, hey, I am in my young 20s. I can't afford a home. Everything nowadays is I can work remotely and still make a very decent wage. So why pay $2,000-$3,000 a month for an apartment and stay stationary where I can literally build out or buy a van for cheaper than that and go see the entire United States and still work. I just work wherever I want now.
Yeah. And that's actually brings up something, a guy that I just started following on Instagram. He just got notice. He got a 4-month notice that his apartment owner is selling the property, and he's getting evicted from his apartment in 4 months. So he's just like, oh, what do I do now? I don't want to buy a house. I don't want to move. I guess I've been wanting to do this van life thing. So he searched the internet and found one of the Mercedes vans like, John Patton has.
Sprinter. Yep.
Yeah. And he just went all in and it's like, this is my lifestyle now. This is how I'm going to live. And his Instagram page is all about him and his journey and finding it, how much it cost, all the upgrades he's doing, cutting out the sides to put windows in and all that type of stuff. It's really interesting.
I mean, when Chris Costa came out here, he had a Mercedes Sprinter. He had one and his wife had one.
Yeah, and that thing
has some money,
man.
Yeah,
and I don't get it because that thing, that van by itself was probably like 90,000 plus all of the upgrades that he put into that, and he owns this nice house and property up in freaking
almost
Montana.
Like he has a lot of money.
It is.
It's almost like
it's almost like Magpul paid him well back in the day with those videos.
Hey, like, hate the man as much as you want.
No, I'm not hating on him. No, I loved his course.
We are like, if you ever have a chance to train Chris Costa, do it. It's not more of the fact that it's not more of the fact that it's the world's leading training. You'll pick up like 1 or 2 things from his classes if you take especially like a carbine or handgun class, but just the fact that we saw him. So we took that class and saw him at SHOT. It was almost a year later, and he was like, "Oh, hey Mark, hey Jeff, how's it going?"
Yeah,
like knew us by our first name, on site recognized us, and that guy will remember you for the rest of his life for some reason, even though I'm the most like forgettable white guy you will ever meet.
Right. It was what I found really funny, not ha funny, but interesting, was the fact that Jeff handed Chris Costa his pistol, and he had the Costa sights on it, and he's like, "Thanks, man. You just fed my family by like." I mean, that's how he like tied it into it. He's like, it wasn't like, "Oh man, cool, thanks for buying my my branded sights for your Glock. That's really cool." It was like, "Hey man, just so you know, you help feed my family," and I thought that was really humbling, to kind of tie it in like that. But anyway, so so you've been talking about the overlanding stuff. You've been talking about some of the different products. You mentioned some e-bikes. You've got some e-bikes that you're going to be looking at.
Oh yeah, so I have a so I've done actually some electronic stuff I've been working on with anyway. So I had I have a one wheel, like one of the one wheel pints.
Oh yeah,
I had a pint
yeah.
and I have a pint X. Both of those I've done reviews on, and those do really well. I think a lot of people enjoy those. I've ridden them on the beach. I've ridden them on trails, on just greenways around town, and they're a blast. They're so much fun. Dangerous as I'll get out though,
Oh, yeah.
because it's a one wheel, and you're relying on a self balancing. And I think they've gotten a lot of issues with self-balancing technology with the sensors. And I know there's like a bunch of court cases out there and stuff, and
Really?
rightfully so. It's a new technology, and it's kind of wobbly. And if you get down to like, and actually I'll tell you the same thing with EVs. I'm noticing if you get down to 20% battery on a one wheel or an electronic skateboard or an EV bike, you're done. You need to stop, because battery technology has only gotten so well where it can only kind of guess where you are in how much battery life is left, which is interesting to say. But on an e-bike, for example, I was riding the other day, and you get like 40 miles on a charge, which is crazy. But and even more if you pedal, if you like lower down the eco mode and just pedal a lot harder. But the it's weird is like when you get to 20%, the electronic assist like slowly stops working, and then all of a sudden it'll go from 20% to 10% right away, and then 0. And same with the one wheel. In fact, I've been thrown off once by the one wheel, and it was because it was 20%, and all of a sudden it just stopped. It's just like, so
that's crazy.
You just fly into the grass, and luckily I was okay. But it was like, oh my, I can see why people would sue for like
no, that makes
potentially
sense.
dying on this thing. And it's just, and bikes are the same way. I have a Venton Adventure 2, which I need to do a review on, but I want to get some serious miles on it. I have over 150 miles on it now, which is great. Because I don't ride it like, you don't ride it like a road bike. You don't really ride it like a mountain bike. You can do those things, but it's really more of a casual trail rider or greenway. And the electronic assist is there to help you, or you can use the throttle and just go full EV and have a fun time. But it allows you to go so much further and faster, because you can pedal with the EV on and get a good workout going, but all of a sudden you're going 30 miles per hour and can go, 50 miles real quick.
That's
so
crazy.
And back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, what would your recommendation be for for the uninitiated going out and get their e-bike? Like, what would you recommend to go look for?
So you have, when the e-bikes first started coming out, like some of the big brands, started popping out. Like Specialized would have like, $7,000 bikes, and like road bikes and hybrids and mountain bikes and all that. I don't know if I'd go that route, because like you're not going to really, unless you're in a competition, but who knows what the rules are depending on what you're looking at. But I think like a Venton, which is what I have, is a good beginner bike. It's in like the $1,000 range, like under 2,000. And depending on which one you get, and it's just, it has big fat tires for some of them. Some of them have regular size tires, but the fat tire allows you to kind of be almost like an electronic like motorcycle in a way. You can go like 32 miles per hour, like full throttle, and just have a blast, like jumping trails and stuff, and have that nice cushion. But there's also some really cool like niche ones, like Super 73, which are like really popular. And they just look like they have like an old style like Indian motorcycle look to them.
Oh, nice.
So like the cafe racer looking sort of stuff.
Yeah, they're really cool looking, but they're e-bikes with pedals, and it's just really cool, like some of the designs they have. But I think Aventon's a good brand. Like you don't have to spend a lot of money. There's like a couple of Facebook groups that I follow, and people seem to like them a lot. I haven't had any issues with mine other than the battery, but that battery technology, I think, is just not quite there yet, as we've seen with EV cars as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you had any I don't know, I already know the answer, but I just have to bring it up. Have you had any problems with like the lithium batteries exploding on you or catching fire?
No, not really. Not with the e-bikes or the one wheel. Yeah, no, just the lack of correct battery level. And they do get hot too, very hot.
There was an interesting take that a friend of mine and I came across here locally. There's a it's not a, when I say reservation, it's not like a, Native American reservation or anything, but there's a reservation, there's an energy center here that allows you to hunt on their reservation. And they have tree stands already set up and everything. And so I was coaching a friend of mine, first season for her to start, hunting, bow hunting for whitetail, and super excited. I was like, I got a couple good spots. We can kind of get you in close, and then it's all up to you from there, So we get into the area and we bump into a couple other guys that was in the parking area before you have to like hike in. And I looked and they had like 2 bikes on the back of their truck. And I was like, hey, are those EVs? Those electronic bikes or EBs, whatever you want to call it. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, huh, that's really smart. I've heard about people doing it, but I've never seen anyone actually do it. And they're like, oh man, we've got to get back up to stand number like 21 and 19. And it's like if you walked it, it's like over 2 miles to get back there. So, being able to jump on this and just be back there, get back there. We can probably take us maybe like 20 minutes and we'll be in the stand ready to go. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Well, the next week we go back out to the same spot, and we're signing in at the front desk to head back into the reservation. And the guard is like, hey, did you talk to your friends? And I was like, I'm not sure which friends are you talking about. And they're like, your friends with the electronic bikes. And I was like, no. I saw them last time, and I thought that was a really great idea with the bikes and everything. It's like, yeah, well, the game warden came out and just put a nix on any of that.
Oh.
So I don't know if you've got a bike or not, but you can't use an electronic bike. And I was like, why is that? And I was like, on public land in the state of Kansas, you cannot use a motorized vehicle.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, but it's an electronic bike. And they're like, but it has a motor. And I was like,
oh man, yeah.
In the state of Kansas, as long as it's not powered by human
right,
interaction, is considered a motorized vehicle.
yeah,
to include horse-drawn carriages.
So I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, you get out to like Wyoming or someplace that has like Bureau of Land Management land, that would be perfect. Get something like one of these electronic bikes and be able to head way back into the back country.
Well, do you guys like? So I saw this really weird sign. We were just in Colorado in December, and there was a bike path, an actual bike path that had like signs every like 10 feet saying no electronic bikes. Is that like a thing? The puritist bike culture is against the EV bike culture and is slowly cleansing you through the fires of purification.
Yeah, so it's not only just like the normal bike crowd. So I have a mountain bike, I have a road bike. So I mean, I do, I really enjoy like just mountain biking.
Yeah, a gravel bike.
Like well, I have a mountain bike and I have a hybrid. So it's like a hybrid road /
Gotcha.
It's like a skinny tire. You can do whatever you want. But the e-bike is wide tired, and it's, a lot of people don't like it because you kind of cheat. So if you're in like a race or something, I mean, there's going to be regulations, but also a lot of greenways, a lot of public land and stuff. There are a lot of rules, including one wheels too, where they're like no electronic vehicles or electronic rideables, they call it, right? So anything with a motor, even if it is an electric hub motor, they're against it. And I could see why, maybe like in a race or something, or like if you're going to destroy by like tearing up a trail with like almost like a dirt bike kind of setup. But I don't know. There's a lot of regulations. A lot of cities are banning them too, which is weird. Kind of like the scooters, the e-scooters and all that.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
I can tell you that I can guarantee you that will go away the moment that a person with a disability sues them because they are infringing on their ability to get out and recreate
Yeah.
because they just took away a means for them, because you can't discriminate. You cannot discriminate on a disability. And this is one way to do it. And that's just my my militance, because like if someone tells me I can't do something, I'm always like trying to find ways to skate around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be higher than 5'7". Let's see it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to break my shins, and I'm going to straight up Gattaca my my height to 5'10".
So what's funny, you mentioned the like the hunting with an e-bike. So Sean from We Like Shooting, I was talking with him not long ago, and he has an event as well. And we were talking about it. And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Did you join the Facebook group?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he's like, "Check out the some of the hunting rigs." I was like, "Hunting rig? What are you talking about?" Sure enough, these guys have put together like rifle racks that go along the front of it. They put together trailers that hook on the back, and these guys go out, and you could go miles into the backcountry on like rough trail, shoot a deer, and haul it back.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, these two dudes that I ran into, they had kind of like a basket set up behind their seat, kind of like what you would expect, I don't know, what was the neighbor in Wizard of Oz that Dorothy saw riding her bike?
Wicked Witch of the West.
Well, yeah, but before she was the Wicked Witch
Do you know
of
they
the West.
sold that house? It's no longer in Wamego.
That you know whose house that was?
Dorothy's.
No, that was Chrysler's.
Chrysler.
The guy who the dude Chrysler. I don't remember his first name, but the guy who founded Chrysler, that was his birth house. He was born in Wamego, Kansas,
and that's the house they shot Wizard of Oz with.
No, it's not.
That White House?
That had nothing to do with Wizard of Oz. I promise you. That's why when you drove by it, you saw that picture of that dude in the front door. That was Chrysler.
We'll fact check that later.
Well, yeah, you go ahead and fact
check. We're at
check
2
it.
hours, so
Yeah,
I'm not in fact checking mode right now.
So just so you know, Kyle, just the town just to the east of us is not only where I work, but also is where they have the Wizard of Oz museum.
Yes, where essentially it was filmed.
Oh, cool.
It was not where it was filmed.
Sorry, like where it's like in the film where they were saying they're from Wamego. It was all about Wamego, and then
I don't think it has anything to do with Wamego. It has everything to do with like liberal Kansas.
Wasn't it?
It was like way southwest Kansas. Yeah, it was way southwest Kansas, like Dust Bowl time frame. And the only reason why it's in Wamego is because a dude had a collection of Wizard of Oz stuff.
I don't think that's right.
And
that's not
they
right.
They created a
you
museum.
Fake news. You're the worst enemy of the people.
So anyway, we're way off track on that. But
John Brown was from Wamego. We talk about
yes, that John Brown was it. So but the point is they had this basket on the back of their e-bike, and they would just basically ball up the deer and strap it into this flat basket and haul it back, and it's powerful enough to haul these dudes who they were like Jacob size. Yeah, they were big dudes.
You call him fat?
No.
You called Jacob fat? Man.
I didn't say anything. They were just saying he was a big dude. You can be a big dude and not be fat. All right. I don't know why you have to look at everybody through your fat tinted glasses.
I fat shame everybody. It's
anyway. All right. So
no one's spared.
No one's spared. No one's
except for my wife. I can't. If you fat shame your wife, you are not only just a terrible husband, but you're probably a dead husband.
I had that conversation with Nan last night.
Yeah, we talked. Did we talk about this in a podcast? Like about buying your significant other for their birthday, like a gym membership, and how terrible of an idea that is.
Yeah. But like literally last night, I was like, "Are we getting fat?" And Nan was like, yeah, we're getting fat. We need to fix that.
So today it's February 21st of year alert 2024. So if for evidentiary purposes, if we're witness testimony, that was on the 20th when he said that.
Yes.
And so if he dies in the next 24 to 48 hours, we know at least a root cause of what happened.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So, but we've crested 2 hours. Kyle, thanks so much for.
Yeah, you're probably dead tired.
I know.
Man?
Yeah, because it's
you got to work tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm in the future.
Yeah, you are in the future. Hey,
hey, what's it look like an hour from now?
Yeah.
Oh man, let me tell you, I just. Oh, sorry, I'm breaking up. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going through a tunnel right now.
Has Putin launched yet?
Oh yeah, I would probably go find one of those bunkers that are famous around Kansas. Yeah, just find something, find a hole.
Speaking of, we keep on talking about Wamego. There's a missile silo just outside Wamego that, like, I think you can Airbnb it.
Yep, it's a decommissioned missile silo. It's not active. There's no nuclear, no Minutemen's there anymore.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can. It's an Airbnb. We have tons of them around here. I think what the big, like, what back like during the zombie, like when zombies were all the craze. Like a guy bought like 2 or 3 of them down by Wichita.
Yep,
and converted them into, like, apartment buildings. So it's like a big apartment complex going down the middle, and you could secure your future for the zombie apocalypse. For me, I think it's like $150,000 for like a bedroom.
Well,
I mean, it's not bad. Now it's not bad. It's like,
I mean, there's certain billionaires who are building bunkers in Hawaii, and the people who are building it have to sign NDAs to not talk about it.
No, it's like almost every other billionaire in the world. So if you do anything for them, you sign an NDA.
It's like, what do they know that we don't know? Like all of the
They're billionaires. They just have money to spend.
Well,
if I was a billionaire, I had no reason to, like, hell, if I had even like $250,000, I'd be building a doomsday bunker in my backyard. That's cool shit.
It's like, why are all the gun companies now building or making lever actions?
Lever actions or PSA. It's like half our new stuff is bolt action rifles and shotguns, pump action shotguns. Just in case. Yeah. We even talked. You and I talked to the guy from Arrow. He's like, people from Oregon can't even. We're from Oregon. Arrow's from Oregon.
Washington.
Washington.
Same communist state. I was like, yeah, we're from Washington. Like, people can't buy half our stuff.
Yep. So, but we want to get we want to get you to bed here soon. I just wanted to give you last little bit to talk about whatever you wanted to talk about. Where people can find you. Kind of give you the last word on this podcast and anything you want to say.
Gives your father, right? So give us some good dad advice.
Oh, yeah, the dad advice.
Give us where can we find you, and some pearls of wisdom.
Okay. No, I like that. I'm obviously YouTube gear know-how. Check me out. So we have new videos every week, or I try to. We take like I said before, it's work, but it's fun. So I usually take off once in a while, like a week, if nothing too exciting going on. But the Instagram, X or whatever that mess is, and Facebook, even though Facebook's kind of a mess as well nowadays.
Wow.
Is that the dad advice? No, yeah.
That's the grandfather advice. Yeah, get a Facebook account. You could know everything's going on in this country.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, YouTube is where it's at. Instagram's pretty good still. But weekly videos, dad advice, honestly, all the stuff we talked about, it's funny, like, it all kind of intertwines together, like the overlanding, firearms, gear, like, just, be prepared for whatever. Have yourself a bin of camping gear, let's call it. But that honestly doubles as an emergency bin, right? Throw it in your car. You got to go somewhere, whatever. And then make sure like you're there with your kids and teach them about all this stuff, and just like be there with them to, teach them as much as you can, and take them out in the woods and go camping once in a while, get off the TV, get off Netflix, and have fun. Do different things. Try new stuff.
Absolutely. Create fire teams. That's all I heard.
Exactly. If you don't have 5 by now, get going.
Oh, yeah.
I've got.
I'm way behind the power curve.
I'm pseudo 4 at this point.
Yeah. I'm
Proxy 4.
proxy 4 by proxy.
What just get automatics and it'll feel like a squad.
Or you get the super safety. Have you guys?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Man,
I just can't wait for that to be highly illegal.
There may or may not be one.
Have you seen about those?
On my
Have
way.
you seen these, Kyle?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So a mutual friend of all three of ours might be sending me one. So yeah, that'll be cool.
Put that Anculate gun.
I may do that. Just watching him just blow up. But thanks a lot, man. I'm gonna dish it over here to Jefe and give him his last 30-ish seconds.
30-ish seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. What Kyle said.
Yeah. Okay.
Procreate, create fire teams.
There you go.
There you
My last little bit is don't forget, guys, that freaking beef jerky is just cow raisins.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I had a great dad advice on that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
You want to go back to you?
No. I'll save it for next month.
Next month. Okay. All right.
Because we'll have what we're gonna have Matt come on.
Yeah, we're gonna have Matt next time. Yeah.
Next time, actually, next week, isn't it?
Couple weeks. Yeah.
Not a couple. It's next week.
It's it is next Friday.
Yeah, next
so
Friday.
It's a week from Friday. With that being said, man, really do appreciate everybody swinging by. Again, Kyle, thank you so much for staying up late and being with us. You're more than welcome to come on anytime you'd like, and we can just continue to do these types of things. It's a lot of fun.
Anytime.
So,
and we'll have to do like an overland trip to a Hofbrauhaus house somewhere on the East Coast. They have them on the East Coast. I've been to one at Panama City Beach. So
yeah, Panama City's good time. Yeah. So
sausage tower or nothing.
Yeah.
Double sausage tower.
So thanks again, guys, for swinging by and checking the podcast out. Again, if you guys are interested in finding where you can find Kyle's Instagram page, all of his social media stuff, his Facebook, his YouTube channel, I'll have all of that in the description of the podcast, wherever you're listening. So you can go by and check him out, give him a follow, and let him know that the guys over at Live Laugh Larp sent you. That would be great. Again, appreciate it. We're going to have another guest coming up here in a month. So we're going to do first of the month. We'll have guests. I think we've got it figured out now, hopefully.
All right.
Hopefully. And we'll have you back on again at some point, Kyle. So,
or we won't.
Excellent.
Or we won't. Let's see what the analytics say.
Here's what we'll do. If we can make it happen, next SHOT Show, we get all four of us.
Oh,
Jacob, Kyle.
We had to start a lot earlier.
We
started that last one at
10
and 1 o'clock in the morning. And then the goddamn jet trails turned all the frogs again.
So
and Mark was just like, okay, I'm done.
I'm done. Yeah, you guys started talking about radios and I was done. So, but with that being said, thanks guys for swinging by, checking everything out, and we will catch you on the next episode. And don't forget to live, laugh, and LARP. Bye, y'all.